Ladies and gentlemen, please throw your hands in the air for the greatest podcast on earth when it comes to music, sports, and culture. Disabled is Abled with your host, Eli and Fredy. So put your hands together if you are ready to get the show started. Let's go. Peace. Welcome to another episode of Disabled is Able, where we, the disabled, display the superpowers needed to save the world.
Got that up.
Yes. I'm Dad. This is Eli.
Yeah.
Big shouts out to Fredy, who's on vacation.
Family vacation, yeah.
Family vacation, doing it up.
He'll be back soon, guys.
He'll be back soon. In the meantime, in the between time, how you feeling, young man?
I'm feeling good. Been watching these NBA playoffs. It's really exciting. It's been a tough journey for certain teams that I need to pull through. Don't know what's going on with them, but we'll get into it.
And the interesting thing, Eli, is one game can change the narrative of a series.
Yeah.
Just last week, the Clippers looked like they were buried.
Yeah.
Down 0-2.
Definitely.
Lost 2 home games.
Definitely.
And we were all drinking the Kool-Aid. Oh, because it's over for them.
And mind you, I know that Boston came back from a 0-2 series against Chicago in 2017 where they had home court, but I don't remember that series that well.
Right, in detail. Exactly.
So I was like, there's no way the Clippers get out of Dallas with 2 wins.
Right, maybe one.
Maybe one, but it's still going to be 3-1. They've been in that predicament before. They're going to lose. Ball game over. And then, even if it goes 3-2, they're not coming back out of Dallas in the game 6.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And then, Luka put up 44-9 in game 3.
And they should have won that game. And they were up 30-11 coming out the gate.
Right. And you said you didn't like the
substitution
by the head coach?
Carlisle, yeah. Rick Carlisle.
You say you could. I would have kept him in.
Yes.
And put his foot on their throat.
I mean, because you up, and this is an opportunity to really go up. And the minute he took Luka out of the game, they went on a run, 14-4.
14-4.
And the rest was, as we know, history.
And then Porzingis hit like a big shot that I thought was going to seal the game for Dallas at the top of the key.
But he hasn't been producing. They can't trade him because I don't think he has any value. No, he always have value somewhere. Somebody can use a 7-footer. You know, who can stretch the floor.
True.
But
and then I'm assuming some point in game 3, Luka.
Yes, he strained nerve damage. He strained his neck. You clearly saw it in game 4.
Right.
But they get an extra day's rest because they technically should be playing tonight.
Right.
The extra day's rest, which helped Chris Paul. Let's get into our set because we'll be.
Well, you want to keep talking about this game? I mean,
watch me hit the button.
You're listening to the sounds of Disabled is Abled podcast.
Let's start with the Bucks sweeping.
Oh yeah.
Your Miami Heat.
Yeah.
My man Luka said, "Don't play with your food, son."
Giannis.
So Giannis. He said, Miami's our food, son. Let's not play with our food. Let's eat our food.
Congratulations.
And they ate that food.
Milwaukee, you've made it to the second round.
But you know what? No, it's bigger than making it to the second round, Eli. They overcame something psychological because Miami handled them last year.
It is.
In a bubble.
Currently 8 p.m.
Yes.
Brooklyn's playing Boston. As soon as that wraps up at around 10:30-ish.
Yeah.
You guys will have to face Brooklyn. And
okay, but now you're jumping the gun.
Then that's your Cinderella happy moment.
Oh, no.
Enjoy that.
We'll talk about that once it's official, but
they combined it for about... No, let me go on my little rant real quick.
Okay, go on your rant.
They combined it for about 104 points, and they have a franchise record of 145. Try to match that. I don't think you can. Defense does win you championships.
Okay.
Offense, but this is a juggernaut. This is a Golden State Miami Heat.
And you know something?
2014 type of offense. I don't know if you can do it. But
and I watched LeBron and them play defense and shut them boys
down.
down.
I have seen Golden State play defense too.
So my point is, this is going to be the biggest test. Now, I'm back to my narrative. One game can change the narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
I do believe, speaking of one game, I do believe if Miami wins that series, it becomes a little bit tougher. I mean, wins that game one. I'm sorry. Game one.
No, absolutely. Because then they have the confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just did your job. You won one on the road.
Right. But what we're seeing, this is not the same Milwaukee team. Drew Holiday, P.J. Tucker, Clinton Portis, people forget about him, have really changed the way Milwaukee, and what I saw, which gave me confidence is that Giannis don't have the ball.
Right.
He gave the ball to Drew Holiday.
Right. And he said that in the interview. He was
like Kyrie gave the ball to James Harden.
Right.
So now that he doesn't have the ball, he can play traditionally, as a big, post somebody up, see if he can score. But when the game is on the line, he's not fighting a wall, and everybody got 10 eyes on Giannis because they know nobody else can score.
Right.
This is a different Milwaukee team, but we'll talk about that in a second. Nuggets are tied in their series against Portland.
Yeah, Portland blew their opportunity to go up 3-1.
But they did tie the series, which was big. Remember, Denver went up 2-1, and in that game 4, I needed to see something from Portland, and they delivered.
Yeah, they destroyed them by 70, 60 points?
They put that work in. So now it's a short series.
Right.
It's the best 2 out of 3, and game 5 is that swing game tonight.
Right, tonight, and I don't expect. Here's the thing. I was expecting Portland to go up 3-1 because you had advantage. Because you won the first game. You took advantage of that. They tied it up, unfortunately. So the next 2 out of 3 is in Denver. I don't see them winning 2 of those. I don't see them winning a Denver game, in Denver.
Here's the thing
now
with
they're going to have to.
If when the series is tied 2-2 and you don't have home court advantage, you have to win 1 out of the 2 in Denver. It's usually game 5.
Right.
You have to, if they somehow come out of Denver with a win.
Right, it's a wrap.
And now you're going home to Portland.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. But if you have to lose game 5 in Denver, then you got to fight for your life in game 6. There's no way you're going back to Denver in a game 7 and winning that.
Right.
Well, not no way, but it becomes extremely tough.
Right. Because I'm thinking the matchup-wise, they don't have 2 guards that can guard Dame and CJ. But unfortunately, CJ has only been averaging 18 points per game in the series. Which was surprising to me.
Yes. Well, you have to give Aaron Gordon, who's probably guarding him, a little bit of credit because of his height and his ability to defend.
Porter.
And Clinton Portis, yes.
Michael Porter.
Right.
So, Dame's been putting up his numbers.
And Melo has been putting his numbers up off the bench.
Right. And they don't have an answer for Joker only because Nurkic keeps getting into foul trouble.
Right. And Powell has been playing well, too.
Right. And Austin Rivers hit 4 threes in that game.
3.
And that didn't happen again after that.
Because I'm always telling you, your role players could have one game in a series.
Right.
Where, look at Tim Hardaway Jr.
Right.
For Dallas.
He actually had 2.
He had 2 games on the road where he shined.
And imagine he was to have those 2 games on one of those home games.
Right.
This would be totally
change the complex of the series. Right. So we know that's happening.
From Phoenix, I'm sorry.
Yes. So I have Portland tonight because
going back into Denver and winning that.
The only chance they have to win the series is tonight.
Right.
So I gotta hedge my bet.
Since you picked Portland,
they gotta win tonight to disrupt the algorithm of Denver's momentum.
Well, you know who I'm going with? I'm going with Denver with this one.
I see.
In support of my man Murray.
I think the Clippers have won the series now.
Oh, it's a wrap for that one.
I think they have psychologically now. But one thing I notice about the Clippers, they're front runners.
Yeah.
So they start poking their chests out a little early.
And if you remember back in 2015 or 2016, they went up 3-1 against Houston.
Yes.
Game 6 was in their building.
Yes.
I said, okay, they'll give Game 5 to Houston, which they did. Mm-hmm. And then they let Josh Smith come off the bench.
Off. Yes.
Because James Harden had a bad game.
Yes.
And scored 25 points off their bench. railed them back into the game. They came out of LA alive.
Yes.
You're absolutely. This is a Clippers curse.
And even last year, remember, they were fighting with Luka and them when they were up.
I think 3-2.
1-0, or it was.
Oh yeah.
Or when it was, they were about to go up or tie the series.
Right.
2-2, and they started saying no. They were up 3-1. They were up 3-1. Clippers.
But that was against Denver.
That's what I mean. Against Denver. That's what I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And they started telling Denver, "You going home."
Right.
And they started talking
Morris,
all that smack.
Yeah. One of the more Smiths was
That's my point. So a lot of times they'll start poking their chest because he's already hitting gunshots at the other team.
Yeah.
So to me, they get too happy too soon,
Right.
and that may cost.
And
them.
they're not as tough as they was last year.
They're not, but
Because they lost.
I give Kawhi and Paul George credit.
Yeah.
Man. They
showed up, especially for
they
game 4.
showed up in game 4, bro.
Because game 3, Dallas only lost by 10 points.
And they should have won. You get 44-9-9, you should win that game.
Clearly, one of your role players didn't have enough points. Like
Yeah.
Smith or Hardaway.
Yep.
Didn't really try.
They didn't show.
And Porzingis.
They didn't show up.
I was expecting at least Porzingis to show for one of these home
One
games.
of these home games. Just give us one, homie.
Like
one
a good
25 point,
right? 30 point,
12 rebound, 4 block game.
Right.
Jeez.
and
They didn't.
I don't expect them to win game 5. Dallas might win game 6, but then they gotta go back into because now LA got the home court advantage again.
However, if this goes 7,
And Luka's not 100%.
but this extra day's rest, I'm hearing. I got my sources. They saying he's feeling a lot better. Look at the extra day Chris Paul got.
Which he wasn't gonna play in that game.
But he felt a lot better. So
Right.
that extra day sometimes gives you what you need.
benefit.
I'm not sure I'll bet against Luka in a game 7.
I'm not. I wouldn't either.
Because the NBA is looking to promote this kid
and
too.
understand, game 4 was the only game he didn't have 30 or plus
Right.
more points.
You could tell his shot was off. What's up with his free throw shooting?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how you can shoot that well
And can't make a free throw.
And can't make a free throw.
Man.
Unless you're LeBron, but like LeBron is different. He's a facilitator.
Yeah, but even
does
LeBron
everything.
is better than that. This dude is shooting 40%. He's shooting better from 3-point line than he is from the free throw line,
Right, which is rare.
which is rare. Speaking of the Lakers, this is the season for them.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. right.
LeBron has to come out.
Yeah, okay, look. LeBron, you got to have a game where, if you remember, game 6, 2012, 2013, they had to go into Boston. Me, personally, I thought Boston was going to win that game.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised that they went into Miami for game 5.
And won.
And won that game.
Yes.
I said they're going back into TD Garden
It's a wrap.
with the original trio.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking Paul Pierce is going to give you at least 34.
Yeah.
All you guys asked for from Ray Allen is 25, and Kevin Garnett going to shut down Chris Paul.
Yes. Bosh.
Chris Bosh. And he had one of the best top 5 games of his performance.
Yes.
With 45.
But he was younger then.
He was.
He was 10 years younger.
But sometimes the lion, it's like when you, like a lion in his den and you see 2 or 3 hyenas, it's still a lion.
That's true. That's true. Let me clap that up.
He's still a lion. At the
That
end of
is
the day.
true. No, that is true.
I don't care how many hyenas, unless it's a whole pack of hyenas around him,
Okay.
he's still a hyena. So
Chris Paul is probably telling his team, let's be a pack of hyenas tonight.
Right. Now, I expect, and because, here's the thing. Let's admit 2 major things.
Okay.
One, they found out that AD wasn't coming back in the middle of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, a little
If they had
psychological.
If they had found that out in the middle of halftime.
Or even at the beginning of the game.
Right. Like 2 minutes, like call timeout, and then you huddle around.
Yeah.
You hear, okay, AD's not coming back. His whole mindset changes.
Yeah, true
Because he
story.
was kind of playing like, all right, let me try to get my players involved. Okay, shoot, AD's not coming back.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go off, but at this point, I'm still trying to get my players involved because they gotta make their shots.
Yeah, true story.
Not making their shots. I don't have AD coming back, and then by the time he tries to turn up, it's too late.
No, all of those are facts.
And the second major thing is, let's look big picture wise. Kawhi messed up everything in that free agency. So did Paul George, because
But mainly Kawhi.
mainly Kawhi, because AD was never supposed to be LeBron's second option. Why am I saying this? Because this is important to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're relying now on this championship run because of the injuries and because AD doesn't want to play the center position. You're relying on AD to win you this championship run.
True.
And he doesn't have the Shaquille O'Neal, Akeem, what's my man's name?
Akeem Olajuwon.
Akeem Olajuwon factor. Where's the other one? The one that you love. 6 championships. I keep forgetting.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Right. He doesn't have that aspect of it where I'm a dominant center, give me the ball, and everybody move out my way.
True story.
Right?
He's passive.
He's passive. He was supposed to be the third option, the Chris Middleton to the Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Aspect of things. And that's what LeBron's always had.
Yeah.
He's always had either D-Wade or Kyrie, and then he would have Chris Bosh and Kevin Love. This is the first time he has to rely on a big man that's not that dominant because he's too light in the behind.
True story. I want to argue with you. I can't.
Because all Kawhi had to do was just be like, yo, you know what? Let me be the second option behind LeBron.
But
or Paul George. I don't really care.
To Kawhi's credit, he wants to create his own legacy.
I get that, but clearly that's not working out for
But that
you.
wasn't LeBron's game plan. It was supposed to be Anthony Davis by trade and Kawhi Leonard free agency.
Where AD is the third option, which if he gets hurt, cool.
No big deal. Me and Kawhi could carry
We
this.
got this.
True story.
So now that you're relying on AD, especially this championship run.
They're calling him Mr. Glass right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially, look, because now LeBron, like you said, LeBron eventually has to pass up the keys. But I can't keep passing up the keys. Every time I do pass up the keys to you, you keep getting hurt. So now I got to take the keys.
You keep crashing the car.
Right, you keep crashing the car. Now I got to take the keys back. And I'm 37 or 36.
Yeah, true
I can't be doing this.
No.
I can because I'm that great, but
LeBron's greatness has to spike at times.
Right.
Like tonight is a spike game.
It has to be.
If you don't spike tonight, then we're passing the baton.
And not only that, now Game 6 is a must-win.
Absolutely.
Just to get back into Phoenix for a must-win in a Game 7.
Yeah, no, real story.
All because one big, lengthy, skinny center who doesn't play like Elijah Wan, Shaq, or Jabbar cannot stay healthy or dominate the ball.
Drop bomb. Eli dropping bombs.
Like he needs to.
Yeah. Speaking of dropping bombs, the Knicks stink.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
You called it. You called it the whole way
called
through.
it the whole way through.
We were sitting on the couch watching Game 1. No, Game 2. I'm sorry. I came out to watch Game 2 with you.
Yeah.
And you said, I don't really know, E. I think they're going to win Game 2. Just so for the strength of New York.
Yeah.
Also, we talked about the New York fans. I'm disgusted with y'all.
Right. Well, yeah. That was.
Y'all calling out. Did we? I don't know if we did talk about this. But y'all calling out Brooklyn after Game 2.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
Y'all only won a game.
And y'all yelling,
And
we
y'all
want
skipped
Brooklyn.
completely over the second round.
Yes.
Like, y'all was after this game. Y'all was
Yes.
going to the Eastern Conference Finals
Yeah.
to play Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I get it, because let's be real. New York was giving Brooklyn problems the entire season.
True, but you're not ready for that.
Right. Firepower, right. Understandable. But anyway, back to the series. After Game 2, you was like, yo, great win. But I think Atlanta's going to win the next 2 games. It's going to go down 3-1. And that's going to be it for New York. They might win Game 5, which they might.
Yeah,
they might
just
win
out of
tomorrow.
New York grit, gut.
They
but,
might
but
squeeze
that's
out
gonna
a
be
3-2. And Jalen Rosen said it right. He said this team is based off of ISO ball.
Too much.
That's why they was able to get those gritty wins that they need to get.
But in the playoffs, we always speak about teams are going to take away option number 1 and option number 2.
And the greatest team I've ever seen play basketball, which was the San Antonio Spurs for 20 years. Always made Popovich had that rule, which was if it takes you 2 to 3 seconds to decide,
Pass the ball.
Pass the ball.
If your option is not there in 2 or 3 seconds, keep the
rock.
ball moving so somebody else can
somebody's
get a
gonna
shot.
be eventually open, and
Yes.
the defense is gonna get tired.
And it's funny you said that because the greatest basketball I think I've ever seen,
San Antonio,
other than Magic Johnson maybe in his prime,
yeah.
was
But that was a great player.
right. No, the way he just got everybody involved.
Right, but I'm talking about
in terms
the team.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in terms of the team. Everybody was passing that rock.
Yeah. They broke records against Miami that year.
Right.
Beat them by record blowout margins every game. Yes.
Absolutely. And that's not what the niggas do. And I don't know what happened to Randall. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it. Playoffs. Everything my pops is saying is right. But I'm thinking, okay, look. Even if it's a double team, you got 3-point shooters. They have one of the best 3-point shooting teams I've ever actually seen in New York since 2013.
No, true story.
So I was like, okay, even if you double me, I can still kick it. Somebody going to be open, wide open.
And them buttholes get tight in the playoffs, bro.
And then I'm thinking, there's
pressure.
nobody, besides Capella, there's nobody that can guard Randall. He's improved on his shot. He has decent handles.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you only got 7 points?
Yeah.
At half?
And another thing.
And then he got 23 points in the last game, but that was garbage time. I expected when I tuned in, because it was like 33 to 37, I'm thinking he's going to have at least 20 points. So now
15,
it's like,
20, yeah.
All right, now he might drop 40, and we might squeeze out this game 4 win.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, the move to put Derrick Rose in the starting lineup backfired. Now, I understand that at the start of Game 2, you did that.
Right.
I mean, at halftime of Game 2.
You had to.
Because you had to get the win.
You had to get that win.
But now you're asking a 32-year-old veteran who was giving you fire off your bench to start the game. Right. You just depleted your bench, and that move backfired because Atlanta has a lot of firepower off their bench.
Too much. Way more than I expected.
Yep.
Thibodeau, I get that move for Game 2.
Right.
Here's the thing with Thibodeau. He relies too much on his old players.
And he rides them too much.
Right? Not only that, I don't really blame him. I get it because Payton was not a good point guard for us this year. The entire way through. I didn't like his game.
Yes.
But if you bring Derrick Rose off the bench, now our bench is not as good as it needs to be.
True story. Yep. And right now, we talk about the next series. Brooklyn is up 3-1. And they were up 38-30 in this Game 5 in Brooklyn. We had to talk about Kyrie. Yeah. Somebody threw a water bottle at him. Unacceptable.
All right, but let's break down the whole story.
Yeah.
Which I don't know at what point this was because I tuned out because they was up.
But this was at the end of the game.
This was at the fully end.
At the fully end, he was shaking his teammate's hand, and he walked up to center court.
It's kind of rubbed his foot.
In the logo
like,
of the leprechaun.
Like if you go at somebody's house and they be like, "Yo, you gotta wipe your feet off at the door,"
or you go, no. Every team has
the way he kind of did it.
But he just kind of rubbed it in their face. But every team has a logo.
Right.
And you're supposed to respect that. That logo,
even in the locker room.
And the logo or flag is what we're fighting for, right? And when you go into somebody else's house, and you do that, it's disrespectful.
Right. Now. I don't know. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I don't know if the fans saw that.
I don't know because right after that, as he's walking in, the water bottle came down.
And Johnson, who used to play for Miami, saw it out of his peripheral.
Yes. Which
alerted the security guards, and they arrested him, and he's banned for life. But I don't know.
Well, let's clap that up. He's banned for life. That behavior is unacceptable in any stadium.
But he's the only fan that got arrested. That was interesting.
Well, it's because that's a heavy object. A bottle filled with water, had it hit him in his face, it could have hurt him.
Right. But
now the popcorn, that's just poor sportsmanship.
And what about the spit on
the
Trae
spit?
Young?
We still don't know technically if it was spit. Because he never turned around. Right. We're assuming, but he's not going to get...
50 saw it, though. 50.
Okay, he's not going to get hurt by that.
Right, true.
But it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's still disgusting. Yeah, and the words of some racist fans in Utah didn't do you no bodily harm.
Right.
This was the first where a water bottle... Because if it was empty, it wouldn't have traveled that far.
Right.
It actually had water in it, which gave it weight. And had it came down and hit Kyrie in his face...
Right. It could have cost the team.
Or cost, cut his eye.
Yeah. It could have cost.
It could have cost him a lot. So, and they caught him on the spot, so he got arrested. That's good.
Right. And to give full context, they're both wrong on two different. But I don't know if the fans saw that and got upset, then threw the water bottle.
Very possible.
Or if he just was upset Because
and other players even came out, Kevin Garnett and a few others like
Big Baby Davis.
Big Baby Davis said, "Come on, man, don't disrespect our legacy."
Right.
Granted, you didn't like your experience in Boston. That's fine.
Right.
But don't, because now you become passive aggressive.
Right.
You talked about the racism,
Right.
And then
before you got there,
and then when you leave after you got win number 3, still didn't even get win number 4 yet.
Right.
You decided to rub it in their face. So that's just poor sportsmanship. And I like Kyrie Irving. That's just poor sportsmanship.
On both sides.
He needs to know better.
On both sides.
But I'm glad the fan received what he
yeah.
deserved. Philly was up 3-0, and then Embiid went down. Again, I want to talk about the context. One game can change this whole series.
Right.
I don't think the Wizards can come back and win the series. That's not my point.
No.
But if Embiid cannot go, he's like Anthony Davis.
Clap it up for, I just want real quick, because Philly almost won that game.
Yeah.
I was watching the whole game, and I was expecting, once I knew Embiid wasn't coming back, I'm like, okay, Wizards was kind of struggling.
Yeah.
Danny Green started hitting his shots.
Because 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
Right.
Let's just go on vacation.
Right.
We can't win this series. And I said to myself, just lay down and die.
But Westbrook, that's not his game.
That's not his game. Yeah.
Ben almost brought them back, but they ended up losing.
If he can't go, they're in trouble. They're another team that's like the Lakers.
No, yeah,
If Embiid is out, they
Right.
become a regular team.
Right.
And they
That's
started
true.
fouling Ben Simmons down the stretch of the game.
And that was smart. That was smart
very
because
smart.
he ended up shooting 4 for 7 or 4 for 8 from the free throw line. Once again, I don't understand. Don't get me wrong. I'm really big. See, when it comes to basketball, I treat basketball free throws like a PAT kick in NFL.
Yeah, you're supposed to make that
You're just supposed to line that up
and make it.
and make it. Now, football is a little different because it could be 40 yards, it could be 50,
True.
55.
Win factors.
Right, the win factor. I give them a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
The lace, depending on how you place
how you
that
put
ball,
the lace. Yeah.
it can mess up the whole trajectory of the kick. But free throws, like, all you gotta do is calm down.
And shoot 'em.
And here's the thing: I understand if you're a center
With huge hands.
with huge hands, but
Yes.
if you are a point guard, a power forward, all the way down to point guards, you should be 88 to 90% from the field.
True story.
And also practice your conditioning going back and down the court.
Yes.
And that way, when you get tired, you know how to shoot free throws when you're tired.
All
Anyway,
facts.
beside the point. Ben, work on your free throws.
So if Embiid is not going,
That's gonna mess them up for the next series.
right,
Because they got
Absolutely.
to face Atlanta.
a
and if
run and gun
Embiid
team, yeah,
is in and out. Once again, he can't stay healthy. He's Mr. Glass.
yes,
But he likes to bang, but that's a different point.
yeah. He's a
He
banger.
He's a banger. He can bang, but he's also Mr. Glass. They might have a big upset coming into the second round.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens. I expect them to win Game 5, close that series out. And they'll both pretty much close out, I guess, on the same day because they play tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. But if Embiid don't go, Washington could eke out another win and just prolong the inevitable.
Dude, if that happens, they're not gonna lose in their home building again. And then
Now you're in for a 7-game series. Yeah.
So now the one thing you didn't expect to happen might happen.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the last game is Utah Jazz. Clap them up because what I've been watching is the youth of Memphis against the experience of the Jazz.
Yeah.
So every time Memphis would take the lead or get close,
Right.
you saw the veteranism in Utah calm down, and they really won 3 in a row by showing they're a more superior team.
But credit to Memphis, because they can fight.
And their future is bright.
And and
Their future's bright.
Ja and Brooks have been showing up in all 3 of those games.
Their future is bright, but I watched them make rookie mistakes.
Right.
With 3 minutes left in the game, 4 minutes left, the game is close. I watched Utah come down and get quality shots.
And the only vet you have is running Trunis.
Yeah, in the middle.
Because imagine those young guys against, and you have Marcus Saul and Zebo.
Right.
And Tony Allen.
Right.
The veterism.
Totally different.
Those mistakes don't happen.
Right. So expect Utah to close them out in Game 5 in Utah.
I think this would have been a sweep if Donovan plays Game 1.
There you go. This series would be over.
So
True story.
Utah, y'all gotta face Dallas or Clippers.
That's going to be a good series.
You're listening to the sounds of Disabled is Abled podcast.
Let's talk tennis. Naomi Osaka She was fined $15,000 for skipping press conference.
Right.
And then as a result of that, she decided, they said if you do it again, you're going to get fined. So she decided to leave.
Not only that, they said they would keep penalizing her.
Right.
And force her to forfeit on certain matches.
Right. So she decided she was going to leave. And now we're finding out that it was based on mental health.
Right.
She's stressed.
With depression.
With depression. And we have a tendency, Eli, to think because you're making money and you're famous, everything is hunky-dory, and it's not.
But look what happened, and speaking on money real quick, look what happened in the last month and a half. All the 3 top billionaires have gone through divorces.
Great points. Great points.
So money doesn't keep happiness, and money doesn't keep a relationship whole.
True story. True story.
Right? And then I didn't like the fact whoever the commissioner is for the French Open tried to backtrack his statements on, now we feel sorry about Naomi.
It's too late.
Because we found out that she was depressed. What happened to all those fines and withdrawals and forfeits?
So people forget.
Prior to that, you just thought, okay, she just doesn't want to do press, which is fine. She has the entire. That should be a privilege, not a.
But Eli, when a sport pays you that much,
a necessity, not a luxury.
Yeah, it should be a luxury, not a necessity.
Right.
But you got to think about it like this, and this is to look at it from the other perspective. Right. There are other 5 and 6-year-old girls looking up to Osaka, and they want to hear her inspiration. So the press conference is important. However, she's young and she loves tennis. Right. She did not foresee everything she was going to have to deal with in result. People pulling you this way. People wanting you to endorse Pepsi. People wanting you to do McDonald's commercials. All of this stuff for a young girl who just probably wants to enjoy her teenage years.
Exactly.
And now she can't. So understand this is what comes with the,
the more wins you get, the more popularity you get.
Absolutely.
The more exposure you get. She has been speaking on social justice problems before. Which credit to her. She handled it like a champ.
Yes.
She's been dealing with this for about 3 years. She mentioned it back in 2018. I noticed it a little bit in February, but I thought it was just on some COVID situation.
Got you.
Because I know, like, when she was in Australia for the Australian Open, it was COVID protocols.
Right.
And she kind of needed her significant other to be there, so she called him. He flew down there to support her, and it kind of made her more happier. So
absolutely.
I just thought, okay, cool. She was kind of missing somebody. So, but I didn't know it was this bad. So I'm hoping she does well.
Yes, we want to send our well wishes to her and hope she gets the time off she needs to refocus.
Yeah, and and then you and Coco can go at it because I'm waiting for that Coco battle.
Yeah.
I like those two. They're the future of the women's tennis.
Yes.
And
we'll take it from there.
You're listening to the sounds of Disabled is Abled podcast.
Eli, the clock is still ticking on Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. What's the latest scoop that we have there? These are the 2 major moves in football that could tilt the
entire season.
The destiny of a couple of teams. Yes, sir.
The entire season. What I know so far is today's the deadline. This is the last day before all the trades and offers come through.
Got you.
Because June 2nd is on and popping.
Okay. All right.
So, I know the Titans have a little bit of a package. He's been talking to Seattle. Now, they don't have the luxury, the cap room, but they're willing to negotiate. Here's the thing. Once again, like I said before, Falcons are asking for a first-round draft pick. They're not really going to get that.
Okay.
For the most part, because that's asking for a lot for a 32-year-old, one of the best wide receivers now.
Yes.
But he's 32. The Chargers are involved. The Ramsey wants him. Hopkins wants him.
Obviously.
We can offer them we can offer them the best package because we have 16.4 in the cap space, and we can offer them a 22 second-round draft pick and a 4th-round draft pick from the same
that's
year.
big. That's big.
Which is a big package.
That's a big package.
And I'm missing one other team. Packers too, but I don't think they're gonna keep Aaron Rodgers. So that's
gonna be out.
Right.
Now, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, what's the latest?
he wants to get out of there. They're trying to now. The Packers have said publicly and privately they're not trying to trade Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Obviously.
But you think secretly they are?
No, but I think Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to come back there. He doesn't like the GM. I heard that he kept calling him Jerry. Who's the old GM for the Chicago Bulls? The one that Krause. He keeps calling him Jerry Krause in the group chat.
Wow.
And I didn't know this, but in the last let's say 10 seasons, because he's been there for 16 seasons. Mm-hmm. But in like the last 10 seasons, they only drafted one wide receiver.
Wow. They always go defense for some strange reason.
Right.
And you're not even arming the best so-called quarterback in terms of stats with weapons.
He just won a MVP.
Yeah, for maybe the third or fourth time.
And their offense wasn't. I mean, their offense was great because they got to the end.
But imagine they had a number one receiver.
Right. And don't get me wrong, Adams is that guy. But you were supposed to.
But you got to balance that out.
Right. Because you can't. Because then I can just double Adams whenever I want.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think they're both going to leave. I don't know what teams those two are going to go to. I think the stronger teams for Julio is going to be the Titans, the Chargers, Patriots. Because Bill's only going to give you one package.
Yeah, that's it. He's not going to move.
He's not going to keep renegotiating. And the Seahawks to the 49ers.
Gotcha.
Those are going to be the biggest bidding wars. Titans, Seahawks, 49ers. Watch it for the Cardinals because
they can sneak in.
They can sneak in there. And for Rodgers, I don't really know what teams he can go to because it's the Packers. I mean.
Yeah.
And it needs to be a team that's like one Aaron Rodgers quarterback away
from a Super Bowl. Yeah. Anything less is a waste of his time.
Right. And I'm trying to think. There's not a lot of teams in AFC because a lot of those rookie quarterbacks actually panned out better than I expected. Mm-hmm. Same thing in the NFC.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson's happy in Seattle, so that whole trading package
is gone. Yeah.
I could see the Texans, because they will. Here's the thing: the Texans will give up
Deshaun
Watson for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I would too.
But does Aaron Rodgers want to? Here's the thing: none of these players have the bidding war to like request their trades.
Yeah, they don't have the leverage.
The leverage. Yeah. There we go. So, but I'm interested. We'll update y'all next week.
You're listening to the sounds of Disabled is Abled podcast.
We'll skip over baseball. Mets stink. Yankees stink.
That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. We're New York fans.
Credit to Tatis Jr. I know how he pronounces his name.
Oh, from San Diego Padres.
He's been balling.
Out.
So has Oshane, Japanese. I know who I'm talking about.
From the Angels. He's been balling out. Yes.
Dodgers have the best record in the NL. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm sorry, not the Giants. Giants has come back to life.
Okay.
They won 3.
Well, they're every 2 years.
Right, and they won. They win their World Series every 2 to 3 years.
Yes, because they be having dynamic pitching.
So
in most
credit
cases.
to y'all by that. Yeah.
Culture, DMX album, The Exodus dropped.
How did you like it?
I got a chance to listen to it. I thought it was a very good album. It has his son on the album. Nice. No, his daughter's on the album, and he issued a letter which was touching to his oldest son about apologizing for not being there for him and to call me. And he put his number in there. And, so let's talk and call. Right. And then he passed away. But overall, I thought the album was pretty good. They say it's not going to hit number 1, which is odd. This,
yeah, I mean, because you're right. Especially because, his legacy and his fans.
Right, yeah. I thought that we would be enough.
But Billboard's a little shaky when it comes to streams.
Yes.
They kind of just...
The stream thing is a new thing.
Right.
And how they calculate streams.
Absolutely. And I'm not surprised by the letter only because because we was watching the shop.
Yeah.
And the way Jay-Z broke down that whole concert on him, the way he prays and...
Yeah, he prays after every concert and every show, and he was a man of the cloth.
Right, and it gives people emotion. So
yes, very emotional.
Not surprised. He's very good with his penmanship.
In sad news, a 20-year-old rapper named Lil Loaded committed suicide.
Yeah.
Our condolences go out to his family. This also just ties back into mental health and what with this COVID and other things. Imagine the world without COVID. We already had problems that we had to deal with. The COVID situation just compounded all of the problems. And so we have people going through very, very tough times. To be 20 years old and have your whole life ahead of you.
Very true, but okay, here's the thing. He did it for a unnecessary reason.
Is it the girl?
It was just for a girl.
I'm also hearing that he was a suspect in a shooting around the same time. So, all of the details are a little murky.
Yeah, a little bit murky, but I know, as far as I know, it was for a girl.
And that's no reason to...
And that's no reason to commit suicide.
But when you're dealing with mental illness...
Right.
Any rejection is tough.
As a 20-year-old, because we heard this similar situation with Juice WRLD, because the feds were around him, he panics.
Yes.
And takes a bunch of pills because he thinks he's going to go for the fall. Take the fall.
Yeah.
So maybe because of the shooting as well, he didn't feel like his label and his
maybe felt boxed in.
Right. And that they wasn't going to take care of him.
Yeah, yeah.
So
our condolences to his family. All right.
You're listening to the sounds of Disabled is Abled podcast.
And our Disabled is Abled story of the week. We don't have one all the time, but a super dad and son with autism develop inspiring comic book series, Jake and JetPulse. Led Bradshaw used his skills as a professional comic book artist to bring his son's Jake autistic vision to life. He noticed that his son was autistic,
right?
But he wanted to show that he was disabled and able. So he tapped into his son's imagination, and they created this amazing comic book series. And he created sight words for his son and the character of his son's likeliness. The comic book helped his son with his vocabulary and math. You got to clap that up. We will order that series.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm a big comic book fan.
Right,
I love comic book fan.
And it just goes back to, for all of the parents who have children who are disabled, never give up on them. Find out what they like. Find out how you can make their life pleasurable.
You used to help me with visuals in my homework and tests.
All the time.
I used to
I told a story on...
Right, he would have to break it down into stories because in my head, it's just like, you just reading that to me is not...
Absolutely.
Connect to me.
So on that other podcast I do, my secondary podcast, this is my primary one, I explain the story of how we would work all the way until you got on the school bus so that you can have these visions in your head and do amazing on the test. So we want to shout out Led Bradshaw and his son Jake for doing an amazing job. You two are disabled yet abled, and we love it.
Real quick, before we wrap up, forgot to mention in the NFL thing, Patrick Mahomes came out and said he wants a historic season, and by historic season, he means Mr. Perfect. He wants to go 20-0.
Well,
now,
that's his ego talking now, and that's going to cost them.
Do I think they can do it? That's hard.
It's very hard to do.
I think talent-wise, they absolutely are capable of it. Because they're the best talented team I've seen since the 2007 Patriots, which was one game away from doing it themselves. Yeah. But trying to actually do it and bring that to life, it gets harder and harder each week.
That's what a term Any Given Sunday comes from.
Right, because a team that you can beat, but because they're 12-0, because that's what happened to...
And they get up to play you. You're their Super Bowl.
That's what happened to the Panthers in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That last game of the season, they had to face the Falcons. They can beat the Falcons. They were a better team. But that one game given Sunday...
And that was a division rival. Julio showed up. Matt Ryan showed up. Ball game. So I don't think he should have said that openly.
Right.
If it's something he felt privately.
And tell your squad that, I got a mission.
Let's do this.
I get it, because he wants a championship again. He knows the offensive line situation. He knows he was under pressure, which they fixed.
Yeah, but they're not giving out championships.
Absolutely not.
You got to go earn those.
Absolutely not. So, but hopefully, what do you think, real quick, what do you think the record will be?
It's too early. We're going to do football specials and we'll get into it.
Well, it's only 100 days away. So.
Okay, well, it's 99 days now.
Yep.
Where can we be reached?
We can be reached on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Disabled Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. That viewership got to go up, guys. I'm paying attention.
We need to go up. Let's go.
And the subscribership needs to go up.
Let's
subscribe,
go.
like, comment, all right? Watch my videos. I love you guys. See you guys next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, please throw your hands in the air for the greatest podcast on earth when it comes to music, sports, and culture. Disabled is Abled with your host, Eli and Fredy. So put your hands